The guest is Mayor KDean, and the issue is Nashville at the 21st century. And of course, we're going to give Mayor Dean an opportunity during this last segment simply to talk about some of the issues that he believed to be important. And of course, Mayor, some of the things that you've probably made up your mind that you'd like to talk about today. And this will be an opportunity, this will give you an opportunity to do so.
Well, I think, as I've mentioned, I think for me, what I'm going to try to remain focused on during my time as mayor is the three pitches I think a mayor has to hit, which are public education, public safety, and economic development. I think if you keep your eye on the ball for those fundamentals, the city will be in good shape. And Nashville is just inherently a strong city. I mean, we have a lot of things going for us, and if we stay focused on those three, I think we're going to be fine. Now, of course, as mayor, you know, you do have you don't always get to follow the agenda you want. I mean, when I first came into office, I spent a lot of time working on issues related to hockey. I spent some time working on the issues related to the laptop computers at the Election Commission. I mean, those type of things do come up, and you just have to be in a position to respond. But I have a innate and fundamental confidence in the future of the city. I went to they had a school for new mayors, for national school, for like 3 or 4 days, and it was all the mayors from cities, over 70,000 who were elected in the past year. And you know, one of the things I came out of that with is just a real pride in Nashville, because the other mayors said, you know, they've heard a lot of good things about Nashville, and they felt I was lucky to be mayor of a city that is this vibrant. And I really am, because I think there is so much going on in our city, and you know, that we might be in a tight budget year this year, and the economy may be a little bit slower, but I think fundamentally this is just going to be a real exciting place to be for the next few years.
And compared to some of the other major urban areas in this country, they're really in a real problem, because we've had one professor to come in from Tennessee State University to talk about what he called chocolate cities, where he listed 6 or 8 urban areas, including the only one in the city of Tennessee, and that was Memphis, as being predominantly chocolate cities, black, brown, and these cities are really having some major problems.
Well, I think, you know, like I said, we have certainly problems with dropout rates, and we have problems with education, as a lot of urban areas do, but we have also a lot of good things going on, which I've talked about, you know, the improvements in K through 4 and really good high schools and all that. But we need, the thing about Nashville is our problems are not so large that if we get together as a community and focus on addressing those problems, we can solve them. And there's enough wealth in Nashville, there's enough jobs, there's enough educated, committed folks who want to volunteer and help the city, that we can really make some progress here.
And so, Mayor, as far as you're concerned, it's a good thing to be the mayor of Nashville.
It's a great thing to be mayor of Nashville. I get up, you know, I said I get up every day, still after 5 months, and go to work, and I am happy. I look forward to it, and I come home, and 95% of the time I'm still happy. We have good people working for the city, and like I say, there's just lots of opportunities here.
You've really had what I consider to be, you know, watching the developments over the last several months, a real open administration, which is to say that you travel around, especially dealing with these schools. You've traveled from school to school, eliciting the support and the opinions of some of the people there. Now, what's the result of all of that?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things I thought I needed to do, particularly on the issue of education, is just take some time to listen to people and to hear what their thoughts were. And so these town hall meetings, which I did, my first full day in office, I did a town hall meeting at Pro-Con. Did one this week at Maplewood. Is you get to hear what students and what faculty members and parents are thinking, which is good. And you got to move ahead and continue to work on issues, but you want to hear what other people are thinking. And I think this issue about it being accessible is important. As mayor, you need to be able to meet with folks, and you need to be able to listen to people. And I've made an effort to have a good relationship with the Board of Education, to have a good relationship with the Metro Council, to meet individually with the members and hear what they're thinking, to get their ideas. Because they certainly have an expertise and a knowledge about areas of the city that I don't have. And I really rely on them to tell me what the issues are in their particular area of the community.
And of course, in terms of Nashville, I think you've already indicated that in a real sense, Nashville is on a fairly solid economic basis. And but in terms of Nashville reaching out to other cities in terms of your relationship with other cities?
That's a good question. Oh yeah, I think that's a big thing that's confronting, that we need to address and not be afraid of, and be involved in this discussion in the next few years. And I'm currently doing this. Is the issue of regionalism. I mean, when Davidson County was created as a metropolitan government in the early 60s, the 503 or 30 miles, whatever figure we agree on, that makes up Davidson County was enormous. But now it's not quite so big. And a lot of issues such as the environment, air quality, need to be addressed on a regional basis. Transportation is an issue that needs to be approached on a regional basis. We need to have a cooperative, positive relationship with the surrounding counties. I want to do that. I'm willing to meet and talk with them at any time. And I think that's going to be one of the things that we'll be doing more of in the years ahead.
Say something, Mayor, in reference to what the governor's trying to do in terms of the preschool education. I mean, the need for that, and especially having been involved in law enforcement, etc., as you've already indicated. Say something that might perhaps convince somebody that we ought to do this, because I've seen tremendous advantages, young children who are making tremendous advances simply because of this pre-K and et cetera. And so, let's support that.
Well, I totally support it. And I think, as I said, I think Governor Bredesen, there's nobody who's more committed to the welfare of the kids of the state than him. And I agree that the more that we can do to make sure that our youngest kids start out on the right foot, they get that opportunity to go to school with a step ahead, is something we ought to be providing. And so I think the governor's on the right track, and I think studies have shown that a pre-K program does help ensure success in school, does help kids graduate, and does help our society ultimately. So I totally support the governor on that.
So you've got about 3 minutes before we end it today, Mayor.
Well, I guess what I'd just like to say to the people in Nashville, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to them, is to say thank you for giving me this opportunity. I mean, it really is a humbling experience, but I also feel lucky and blessed that I have the opportunity to be mayor of a city that is so dynamic, that is so, has such a great present, but also a great future. And I'm just a lucky guy to be in this situation, so I say thank you to them.
And so you started in law, in law enforcement in a real sense.
Well, I started in the public defense in the early 80s. I did that, and I worked as an assistant for several years, and then I was elected public defender in the 90s. Then my experience also as a lawyer was as the city's lawyer, the law director for the city during Mayor Purcell's administration. And I had a good opportunity to watch how he did things and to really dig deep into some of the issues the city was facing.
As a matter of fact, I think you might have used some of that experience in terms of some of those early experiences you talked about with the hockey team and negotiating and do you think that do you find that has been a very positive thing in terms of allowing you
I think the experience has helped me, because for instance, I knew where to park on the first day and all that, but it's helped me. I was not unfamiliar with with those issues. I mean, obviously there were still things I needed to learn and still things I needed to study, but basically I had worked on issues related to the arena, issues related to other things when I was law director. And certainly I knew most of the principal people in the metropolitan government before I got there, so I had good relationships already.
Very good. And of course, Mayor, let me thank you during this last minute or so for coming by and giving us that information today. As we said earlier, what we've tried to do and what our audience, I think in a real sense, has insisted upon, because they've asked so many times when we're going to have Mayor Dean on the show. And so we want to simply thank you for coming by in terms of pleasing them, but at the same time to recognize that we've been blessed. You talk about getting up every morning and wanting to go to work and et cetera. I think we can say the same thing in terms of what we've been able to accomplish here in terms of having individuals like yourself to come by and to encourage encourage the city of Nashville and to sort of explain some of the things that many of us might not have an opportunity to be aware of. And we certainly want to thank you and the people that were responsible for delivering you to us today.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here, and I hope I can come back and and I think you do a real public service, and I really have enjoyed our time together.
Very good. I appreciate that. And of course, let me thank you and let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.